Hello. In this video, I just want to talk a bit about creating for Second Life, specifically who should become a creator and what kinds of things are there to make and sell. There are so many answers to this question, so I can only cover a few of the basics right now. I'm just doing this on the spot. It's not going to be fancy. I don't have a lot of time. This is because the reason there are so many answers to that question is because the possibilities for creating in Second Life are really only limited to your imagination. So if you've thought of it, there's probably someone else who has too and has attempted to make or sell it in SL. So I will just quickly take you through my opinion on what type of situation or person this work might be best for and what kinds of things there are to make, whether you want to sell them or not. Keep in mind that this is all based on my personal opinion and experience, so this whole series on creating for SL will not be a textbook resource. Rather, it is all loosely put together as I have time and as I make my own mistakes and discover my own tips and information to share with you. So let's get started. First of all, what are some of the reasons you might want to create for SL? Well, one can be if you want to work from home and you have a lot of extra time, it's best for someone who has extra time. If you're too pressed for time, it can just add to your stress and your workload. So yeah, if you have a bit of, private space at home and time to do it, it's really good for working from home. It's good for artists who enjoy digital tools and virtual worlds as a medium. So maybe if you went to school for graphic design or art in some way and you're looking for another outlet to be creative or to display your work or just have fun, this is a great way to do that. It's good for introverted people who are shy, who like to work alone and at their own pace, or just people who want to do that. It doesn't matter if you're shy or not, but it's really good for people who don't want to, come face to face with the public and all the work that they do. They rather work in their own space and time and at their own pace, and not be forced to deal with people when they don't want to face to face. Also, it's good for people who already own a business or a store in SL and who want to make their own graphics. So if you've already got something you're trying to do in SL and you need a picture taken or you need a logo made and you want to do it yourself and you want to learn, that's a great reason to learn to create. Or, for anything, maybe you want to build the building that your store is in. It's also for people who don't have much money and can be for people who do have some extra money to invest. So I want to emphasize the fact that, at least through my experience, it can be for either situation. You don't have to have a lot of money to try to do this as long as you have a lot of patience, time, and effort to put into it. I am someone who started with absolutely nothing, and in over 10 years can honestly say that I've pretty much never put into the game. I've never come out of pocket to put into, well, it's not a game, but to put into SL for creating. I started with nothing and I just started small, and I worked my way up and used what I earned from what I sold and created to expand. And I didn't expand unless I had earned enough to do that. So it's possible to do it that way. It's also possible that if you have some extra money and you don't want to spend so much time waiting to earn, to grow, you can invest in some people to help you. That's perfectly fine too. So both are possible in my opinion. It's also for people who get tired of not finding what they want in SL and want to try to make it. So I don't know about you, but there have been lots of times that I just couldn't find the piece of furniture I wanted or the piece of clothing or whatever or accessory, and it wasn't just quite how I wanted it to be or needed it to be, and I just thought, if only I could make it, and so I tried. So that's another situation that creates a possibility for becoming a creator. You might enjoy doing that, or you might just want to do it for a one-time project. It's really up to you. So who is this not for? Again, this is in my opinion. I don't think it's good for people who don't have enough time to invest in quality. So if this is something you're wanting to do just as a quick venture and you're looking for a quick way to get to the end result, I don't think that's a good foundation to have something quality come out of it. So there are lots of people who do it that way, and maybe some of them are successful to the extent that they want to be. But if you're truly in this for the long haul, and it's going to be part of you're going to put part of your heart and soul into it, I just think that you really need to have the time to invest in that. People who are just looking to make a quick buck. Again, so many times I've had people approach me with interest in trying to do this and saying, what's the fastest way? I want to make money. It's just a business, pursuit for them, a money pursuit. And this is nothing about creating for SL is or should be a get rich quick thing, or even, making money overnight, or what's the fastest way. If that is your main goal and drive, I sorry, I just don't believe that will produce the best work unless you have enough money to pay someone to be that person for you, to put all of their heart and creativity and time into it. But, that's up to you. I don't think it's good for people who have very little patience for digital tools and virtual worlds. I mean, if you can hardly stand to log in before you're already frustrated because of lag or the time it takes to navigate in SL or online, this is not going to be good for you. So again, you have to really have the time for everything that comes along with working and being and spending a lot of time in a virtual world. You have to have the interest and patience to learn how to navigate SL and how it works in order to become a part of the creator community. It's just part of the territory. If you can't really tolerate that, then I don't think that this avenue is for you. It's also, I don't think it's for people who don't like to follow TOS, terms of service, or copyright terms for SL or for outside of SL for the resources that they use in their creating other people's work. If you can't be bothered to look into the rights that's attached to a piece of work that you want to use, like a pattern, a texture, a photograph, a logo, anything, then this isn't for you. Second Life is very adamant about enforcing the rules on copyrights, and you need to be respectful of that if you want to be a genuine, successful creator, and I believe in that strongly. So also, people who get frustrated with thinking of their own ideas. It's so many times I've had people come to me over the years and tell me how badly they wanted to do what I do or get started. How could they get started? Did I have any ideas for what they could do? And, wanting me to kind of give them all the ideas for every step of the way and every possibility. I mean, this is, if you aren't creative in some sense, really, I mean, unless it's just there's a way for you to just achieve what you want to achieve in SL without being creative, then I don't think this is for you. I mean, you have to have some level of your own inspiration, ideas, visions, passion to become a really good creator. So just something to think about. Next, what is there to make or sell? This video, my series pretty much will assume that you mostly know what's out there and what you might be interested in, but in case you don't and you really are just getting started with SL, I'll just briefly go over what's out there to do. There are graphics, graphic design, maybe you want to make your own advertisement, logo, vendor template, or for yourself or for someone you know. That's a reason to get into creating. Photography, maybe you want to open a photography studio and offer that as a service to photograph weddings or events or profile pictures, or maybe you just want to learn photography because you're a blogger or to do it for yourself. Buildings, there are residential and commercial buildings and other types that are a big market in SL. They are called prefabs because they're built and then they're like mass produced and sold in packages. But then there are also people who are custom builders who only do custom jobs. So there's a big opportunity there. Same thing with objects. You have things such as furniture, home and garden, outside objects, for landscaping, for anything you can think of. There are great opportunities within the home and garden area and just objects in general for various uses. Fashion is probably the biggest industry in SL, the biggest market. That includes clothing, shoes, appliers, jewelry, accessories. It's huge, so that's a big area to get into. It's not the easiest. It's probably one of the hardest, if not the hardest, to learn, especially when you get into rigging and mesh, but there's a very rewarding result if you become good at it. Also, there's body, so that would include hair, avatar, whole entire avatar bodies, body parts, feet, heads, skin, makeup, tattoos. That's a whole other market as well. Scripting, I will include scripters here because they are creators. There are people who write their own scripts for their own purposes or for a job, and that's an awesome skill to have. It's something that most people can't do because they just don't have the patience to learn coding. But if that's something you enjoy, that's a great opportunity to create and contribute to the community. So yeah. Next is clothing and objects. For clothing, there are different types. Again, I'll go through this quickly. This will assume that you mostly know this. There are static clothing, which is, sculpted and unrigged mesh objects that you wear as part of your outfit. Rigged and fit mesh, which move with your body, and system and applier clothing, which system is the default layer clothing that comes, it's the most basic form of clothing you can wear in SL, but it is considered very outdated. Now those layers are applied through appliers, which is the more updated way to use system clothing for your mesh bodies. I'll get into appliers a bit in just a minute. Tattoos are another opportunity. System layer clothing and appliers are ways that you can wear tattoos. Mesh bodies are another way to create clothing. You do need, in most cases, to apply for a designer kit that will allow you to have a model of the body to form your clothing to, or your shoes to, your accessories. Some of them are, I hear, are not that easy to get a hold of. Some are. So that's, again, up to you which brand you want to try for, if that's what you want to do. Also, mesh bodies, they need to use a HUD, which is an object I'll show you in a minute that allows you to mask out part of your body so that parts of your body don't stick through your clothing. So again, that's where appliers and HUDs come into the picture. With mesh bodies, they work differently than the default SL avatar. And jumping back over to buildings and objects, you have in-world prims as a way to build those, as well as sculpted, which is considered really outdated, but it's still there. In-world prims are considered really outdated, but they are still there. And then there is, of course, mesh, which is the most recent and popular way to build objects and buildings in world. So going over here, I just want to show you really quick. On the left is what an applier looks like. An applier is just like a button that you make, and when you click the button, it will apply the clothing to your mesh avatar. So it's a scripted button that you make, and it's an easy way to get clothing on your mesh avatar that isn't considered object clothing. Also on the right is a body HUD. This is an example of one that comes with the Maitreya body that allows you to click parts of your body on and off to mask those sections based on your outfit needs. And then next here is Gachas. I wanted to just give a quick preview of that because that is a huge market in SL right now, and this is a gacha machine. Basically, a gacha is you just pay money into the machine and you're given a random object out of that collection of items. And people try to collect the rares because there are rare items that you have a less probability of getting when you pay into the machine. So it's almost like a game or a gamble, but it's very fun, it's very addictive, and I really enjoy gacha events. So that's another area of creating. Some designers like myself are kind of in the gacha trap right now where 99% of their output might be gachas because it is a somewhat lucrative market. So, but it is something I enjoy doing, so I will be doing videos on focusing on gachas, the world of gachas. And then lastly here, I just have a picture that to me is a good representation of the variety of creations that are in SL. I mean, here you have my avatar, which this is an older avatar of mine, but it is a mesh body, not a mesh head. You have the avatar, the hair, my flower in my hair is an accessory. I'm wearing jewelry. I'm holding a purse. I have shoes on. And then there are, you know, decorations here behind me, and as well as grass. So all of these things were created by someone, either myself or, you know, like the grass I didn't make. The dress I'm wearing, which you can't really see, I didn't make. So, you know, this just shows you that there are a lot of avenues for creating in SL. It's just a matter of finding out what you're good at, what you enjoy doing. I can say, which is kind of self-contradicting, don't try to do too much, don't try to do it all at once. You might find there are multiple things you love doing in SL creating, but try one at a time, and then you'll, you know, your sense of what you enjoy doing will become refined, and you can possibly create a business out of that. I am kind of overwhelmed myself because I enjoyed creating so many different things. I can't just focus on one area. I do try to do a little bit of it all, but I do try to keep the scope narrow, and, you know, I am always looking for ways to expand in the areas that I love the most and that I'm best at. So, anyway, this is just a very quick and messy rundown on what I think are good solutions or good situations for creating and some ideas of what can be made. I didn't go into a lot of detail on each item, so I'll be doing separate videos for what I know about these different things. This was just a quick, brief overview. Things such as, you know, designing graphics, clothing, mesh, gachas, and more. So I hope this was able to give you a basic, brief glimpse of what opportunities are there for creating a second life, and I hope you will stay tuned for the next video, and thank you.